Congratulations to Dexter for beating the over 1,000 to 1 odds and winning the Rodimus giveaway. Man, every time I do one of these giveaways, I always feel guilty by the end. There are so many people who this is their one and only shot at the figure. So many people for whom it would really mean something to win, and I only have one to give. There were even a couple of people who were like, "It's my birthday, it would be so awesome to win." Just a dagger to my heart. Everyone who entered deserved to win, and I just wish I could do more for you all. And just credit to everyone, you've all been such good sports and so supportive of each other regardless of win or lose. I have the best community on YouTube. So I know you will all forgive me for maybe phoning this video in a little bit. Look, over the last 3 days in a row, I've probably spent 30 hours answering comments and also making 2 videos at the same time. I'm only a mortal man with finite hours in the day. So this is getting started only about 10 hours before it needs to go live. I need to make sure this is a short script that will be easy to film so I can get it out on time. Hopefully it will be no less good than normal. So with all that in mind, Kingdom Grimlock. A figure I didn't think I was actually getting. Not because I didn't order it, I did. But for some reason, a bunch of my orders recently have been cancelled without explanation, especially ones from Hasbro Pulse. I know my account has money in it, so what the hell, guys? And I was told that this pre-order was cancelled, but then it just popped up at my house, so okay. Fun fact, I actually have one of the original Dinobot redecos that made him into Grimlock, but it's not the one this figure is based on. It's the Armada one. And of the 2 figures that came double-packed in this is the one a lot of people were looking forward to, and the one a lot of people were disappointed in. Every review I've seen has said that it's actually Mirage who's the one that you want to get this set for, and that this figure has problems. So of course, I have to say that I actually like this a ton better than the original Dinobot mold it's based on, and I completely disagree that Mirage is any reason to get this set. Yeah, I'm not kidding about anything I just said. Let me explain. This thing is seriously benefiting from being a toy-only character. The original Dinobot mold is good, yeah, but there are problems with that I can't help but fixate on. I know the arms are too wimpy. I know the chest is too puffy. I know it's missing a ton of detail and paint. But this is an update of a toy that never had a show model. So who's to say that the arms are too skinny? Who's to say that the chest isn't supposed to be barreled out like this? Who is to say that this isn't how he's supposed to be colored? Because this isn't Dinobot anymore, none of these just look wrong for the character. So while on the original figure they annoyed the hell out of me, here I see no problems. All my worries about accuracy of the figure go out the window and I can just appreciate the design. Sure, it's got some issues that probably should have been fixed, like the fact that it clearly has eyes molded into the chest, but they aren't colored in. They either needed to slap some green in there or retool that detail away. I will say I think it's strange that on the box it's clear that this whole section was supposed to be colored black, but it's just not here. And I think the whole arms could have stood to be gray, as it looks like he's wearing opera gloves like this. It's weird that Dinobot's arms were apparently on 2 separate sprues originally, but were the same color in the end. A lot of people really don't care for the colors on this. I've heard multiple complaints about the plastic in particular, but I don't really see an issue with this. I've seen it compared to Ape-Face, but I'm not seeing the connection myself. This is all much nicer than that crap. And I've heard fears of gold plastic syndrome happening with this guy, but come on. It's a known thing. It's been decades. I sincerely doubt they are going to use something that decays anymore. Like, Hasbro is cheap, but I doubt they'd be willing to take the hit to their reputation that comes with knowingly releasing a figure that will break in short order because of a material issue that everyone knows about when they could just use whatever plastic color they want. They could have just said, fuck it, the legs are white too. Honestly, kinda makes me wonder why they didn't make his legs one solid color. Like, would anyone really have complained if the butt of the dino mode was bronze when they aren't trying to be accurate to a show model? They could have taken the thigh paint budget and used it for the chest where it is much more needed. One thing I kind of like doing with this mold is leaving the sword and the tail together and having him use them like an umbrella cane. Though I don't know if Grimlock is old enough that he might need that now that he's been reformatted into a Maximal. For sure, not if you go by the show's nonsensical stated canon where it's only set 300 years after 2015. Yeah, sure, somehow beings whose lifespans are dozens of millions of years long forgot half their history in just 300 years. Meanwhile, humans have reliable and widely known records of the past dating for thousands of years. This is like the one piece of canon I think it's pretty much required to ignore in Beast Wars. It's not been 300 years, there's no way, it's probably closer to 1 billion. Anyways, is it just me, or does Grimlock look like he's got a turtleneck? Also, him waist wibbly like Dinobot's never was. But yeah, overall, I really like the look of this in a way that I didn't on the Dinobot. That one's not bad, but it didn't capture the character the way it needed to. And with this being saddled with none of that baggage, it really helps it shine. Unlike the rest of the look of this thing, where I view it as an upgrade, the head is more of a side grade, because the noggin on the original Dinobot figure absolutely nailed it out of the park. But don't take that the wrong way. This head is both really good and really interesting. As you see, this is technically an update of the one on the original toy. Basically, this is what they interpret that figure's head looking like if it were more detailed and bigger. And yeah, I think fair enough, this is a pretty killer update. I think these side humps are probably them trying to represent the old mounting points for the mutant mask, and I think that this would have probably looked better without them. But this is a pretty damn cool head, and I really like it. It definitely does a good job making the whole thing feel like its own character. Now, moving on to the rest of this, and I have a question. Is this the first time I've ever talked about just a light retool? I've talked about some heavy ones before, but I think this is the first time I've ever given one that's just bordering on being a redeco its own review. Its colors are different, and the head is new, and that's it. So what's the point of the next 3 sections when I've covered them exactly before? I guess I'll go over accessories because they are a little different. The coloring on the tail doesn't really amount to anything, but the new color on the sword is much more appropriate, this time looking more like bone and not like pink for no reason. I will not be arguing about this at this time. So, I find the sword to be an improvement, and now I don't really see a point in going over the posability. I've covered this before. And I've also covered the transformation, but I do want to point out that there's a trick to getting the side flaps on the legs to sit flush, since a lot of people seem to struggle with that. There's a flat cutout to the back of the shoulder, and you want to make sure that that's facing the correct direction while in Dino mode. That way, it's not putting pressure on the flap that needs to remain closed. And the Dino mode is both good and interesting in kind of a bad way, depending on your point of view. I personally find the coloring to be fine. I've no issue with it. It doesn't bother me. I think both this and the original's Dino mode excels. But there are a good number of people annoyed that it's off from the original design, and they have a point. Why is this an update to the original Beast Wars Grimlock figure, but the deco is incorrect? It's not even a question about the amount of paint, it's just how it's applied. The way it is wrong. It's supposed to have like a Dalmatian pattern. It shouldn't be solid like this. I'm okay with the way it is, but I'd be okay if it were correct too. Though, you could argue that the accuracy to the original toy was unimportant and they were trying to do something with a better eye towards graphic design, and that is fair. Funnily enough, the new tail actually plugs into the spot for the old one on the original figure. Though I wouldn't exactly describe this as fitting visually, I can't help but wonder if this was intentional. So yeah, I'm actually pretty smitten with this. I think it really solves all the issues I had with the original figure, somehow by not addressing them at all and just making it a different character. Outside cosmetic alterations, it's unchanged, with a little more will to the waist, but all the rest of the joints are plenty tight and sturdy. Having both, this is the figure from this set I would want. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. And I know you know what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.